We're going to join this morning and talk about the cloud and Hadoop, particularly with obvious view towards Microsoft Azure and HD Insight. And for my part, I'm interested in this topic because of the way it can interact with SQL Server. That's actually what I really care about in big data, is finding new and interesting ways to extend SQL Server and help my clients find a better way to deal with things like archiving and whatnot. So I've been at this a little while. I've been working in computer technology professionally since 1990, probably another quite a bit of time before that, just as a user. I grew up in Unix and all those other wonderful things. I spent some time in the jail cell of NetWare. I'm just kidding. But I've worked a lot in competing technologies, so I have a very pardon the pun, pragmatic viewpoint when it comes to technology. I've seen a lot of it come and go, so I don't worry too much about trying to keep things the same. I'm more inclined to try to embrace the new. I joined Pragmatic Works earlier this year. I've been working in SQL Server since 6. I did have a short engagement with 4.2, and thank God that's gone. I've done lots of other platforms. I've spent a couple of years on another brand of Hadoop, which is a great product. I am a complete noob when it comes to HD Insight and Azure. I am learning this as I go. So my presentations are changing too as I go. And that's just really typical for me when I work on a topic and work in an area. I tend to continue to extend it and change it as I learn more. So I'll be speaking at SQL Saturday in Orlando this coming fall, around September the 27th. Please come out and see me if you can. With that, let's get started here. This is what we're actually going to cover in this topic. We're going to talk about how to copy data to Hadoop, how to create Hive tables, work with those tables in Excel, consume those same things in SSIS by pulling in the data using Hive and SSIS. And finally, our last presentation, we had someone ask about doing a linked server in SQL Server and talking directly with Hive. I'll show you how to do that too. So just a little background. The handsome guy that's really tall on the right is Doug Cutting, the inventor of Hadoop. He came from Yahoo, a small team of Yahoo that invented Hadoop. He's a great guy. The ugly guy on the left there is me, and I'm holding the actual Hadoop doll that belonged to his son. A lot of you probably have seen that doll all over the internet and whatnot, and I should call it a toy or something. It almost looks, I'll tell you, my wife is a big craft person, loves to make things with her hands. It looks homemade. So those of you who are out looking for a similar Hadoop doll, I don't think you're going to find it, but it's really cute. So, what we're going to assume here is that you're here because you've read about HD Insight or you have a working HD Insight cluster. I can tell you from personal experience that the HD Insight setup process is very easy. It doesn't take a lot of time to get out there and get it working. This is kind of in contrast to physical clusters where you have to buy hardware and you have to revision it and you have to do a lot of planning and IP addresses and all that stuff. Switches, all the forethought you have to go through is really condensed down, and that's what a lot of those topics are going to be about, is how we can leverage the speed of being able to set up a Hadoop cluster in HD Insight and get it working. Some of you, I would expect, have some Hadoop knowledge. I won't go into a lot of the bare bones stuff about MapReduce and all those things, because I'm assuming that you've either read about all that stuff or you talked to someone who has, or you may have an experience of your own at this point. We're going to assume also that you don't have a lot of security in the way, firewalls, networks, all that sort of thing, that you've overcome whatever limitations those impose. And finally, that you won't be using your real production cluster to experiment with. That's a big no-no with me and anybody who's had to deal with this for a while. So let's just pretend for a second that something big has just happened, and that's kind of where this whole idea came from for me, was trying to find a way. Here you have this resource in HDN site that you can just, with a few clicks of a mouse, set up a cluster and get it working. I think I had mine working in less than an hour, and it didn't involve almost any planning or anything. So those of you who need to do something quickly, get it stood up, and then the other side of that is the teardown. You know, you don't really want this hanging around if you don't need it, right? And you pay only for what you use. So those are the traditional arguments for the cloud. The first thing is identifying some potential data sources, right? So there's a lot of free public data sources that you can just go to their website, browse the data, download it, and like that. So the very first one is data.gov, and that's the government's attempt to become more transparent, provide data sets to everyone, not just to research facilities and universities and the CSA or you know, NSA or one of those people. It's also about sharing that data with those of us who pay for it, so we can go out and do new and challenging and interesting things with it. Department of Transportation has a website as well. They even have a data challenge going on over there. OpenStreetMap is one of my favorite places to go because it is a literal working street map. Well, we'll go out there and take a look at that real quick. If you haven't seen it, it's kind of reminds me of the Google Map stuff, only better, because it's open source, and if you're a programmer, you're going to want to go out and try to make map facilities like this. And to me, a lot of that could be very useful if you're, you know, obviously in the middle of a you know, catastrophe of some kind. So there's all kinds of APIs and things with OpenStreetMap. It looks like they have some downloadable data sets as well, so you can download all of this data. And I'm not a map expert, so those of you that are, God bless you, but that's not my bailiwick. But as you can see, it normally would load faster, but we've got Citrix running, and that's kind of slowing it down a little bit. Anyway, back to our presentation. A bunch in the scientific community, a bunch in Amazon. One of the interesting ones I found in Amazon was Enron's email data. Apparently, you can just go in there and peruse that at your will. Personally, I don't think that reading some of Skilling's email is all that interesting. So.